best time to build an altcoin portfolio is when people aren't paying attention.
I would only DCA. If I had 100K, I wouldn't put that 100K on Celestia, XRP, Solana. No. If you were asking me, I have to deploy a certain amount of capital and it has a more than 5%, then I will split across altcoins and Bitcoin, more weighted towards Bitcoin.
The content presented in this podcast is intended for informational and educational purposes only. It should not be considered as financial advice, and listeners are encouraged to conduct their own research or consult with a qualified professional before making any investment decisions.
Crypto flip.
I gave a hooker around 3 BTC in the summer of 2013, and I still check on her address. She has begun depositing to Coinbase to presumably sell. I have no Bitcoin. What do you think?
Loser. This guy's a fucking loser, bro. Like, you committed 2 cardinal sins, bro. Like, 2 cardinal sins. Number 1, no matter how roasty you are, no matter how thirsty you are, number 1, you never pay for sex, bro. You just never pay for sex. So, me personally, that's just my belief. Like, obviously, if you got it like that, you got it like that, innit? Like, you know what I mean? Well, if you ain't got it like that, you know that's your last stack of BTC. Even if I don't care if BTC was $20, bro, like $100, you shouldn't have sold it. For what? For what? A 2-minute time in heaven? Bro, come on, man. Come on, bro. Like, and then the next cardinal sin is, if you know what BTC was back then, why didn't you buy it? There was plenty of opportunities for you to rebuy it. At $3K, at $500, for $700, at $1K, at $2K. Bro, you're a loser, man. You're a freaking loser, fam. Pay for sex, and then when you obviously cool, we all make mistakes, right? You give away 3 BTC to a hooker. She's laughing at the back now, because now at today's value, that's worth more than 300K. So I hope it was worth it. I really hope it was worth it.
That's expensive.
I'm saying that's an expensive D right there, man. So I really, really hope it was worth it. And you had, since 2013, right? You had 2014. Boy, it's been 10 years plus. Could have rebuilt your portfolio position plan, but you didn't. That's crazy to me. That is absolutely insane to me. So, bro, like, I don't feel no sympathy for this guy. Zero sympathy. Zero. Because you literally dug your own grave, so you gotta lie at it now. So that's what I gotta say, man. He's a freaking loser, bro. And that girl, she's up, man. Free BTC, fam. For all we know, yeah, she probably open up a new business, start collecting Bitcoin for the transaction. So she's probably got a whole big, massive business around this. She's smart, obviously. But even if she's not smart, she was smart enough to accept BTC. Like what? What was Bitcoin at 2013? It's probably like $200, $300. She's like, yeah, I'll take it. Bro, she held that one. Bro, listen, yeah. I shout out to this girl, fam. Because obviously, other than your pressure, didn't it? Yeah, obviously, I don't want to put anyone that wants to do what they want to do. Yo, you gotta make money how you make money, innit? I don't care. But for you to hold that for 10 years plus, well, because she could have sold when it touched 20K. She didn't sell. She could have sold when it went to 60K. She didn't sell. So which tells me this girl knows she knows more about Bitcoin than this dirty fan that gave it away, fam. So, yeah, fam, no sympathy for me, fam. No sympathy for me at all. No. What do you think?
No. You know what it is? This guy, I think you've covered all the bases, to be honest. He's retarded. That's the only way I can summarize it. Because not only did you pay for sex, which is just despicable, you gave her 3 BTC. Now, obviously, you may not have realized what Bitcoin would become, but you had an idea, an inkling, because you kept track of that wallet. You kept track of that wallet, and you were watching it. All of these years, through the FTX bust, through Mt. Gox, through all of that, you were monitoring this wallet. Why? Maybe you're secretly like in love with the girl. I don't know. I don't want to get too deep into it. It's not my business. But what I do know is that she has 3 BTC and you have nothing. Let that sink in. The hooker had 3 BTC and you, my friend, have nothing. You need to reevaluate your life. You need to go back into the trenches when the bear market comes around. And you just need to start stacking because, yeah, otherwise all hope is lost, and it may already be that case because this is just wild. But let's go on to the next one. I've been in crypto since 2019. So many times I've ran accounts up considerably, only to get too excited and nuke it all again. In November of last year, I opened up one of my wallets and it randomly had 700k in it. I sent a test transaction to see if it was a UI glitch. It worked. I sent another. The money was real. So close to my make it goal of $1 million, I just needed a 30% gain, and I could leave the space and never look back. A few days later, I counter traded crypto Twitter by opening a 5x short on ETH with half of the portfolio. I martingaled the trade, thinking I could leverage my stroke of luck. It didn't work. I won't give up. What do you think of that?
There's a lot to unpack for this one, I'm not gonna lie. First of all, what a lucky bastard. Man, I opened up a wallet and found basically 700 grand in his wallet. Like, I hope one of my wallets that one day when I open it up, I find a random 700k large sitting there. I will be over the moon, fans. Trust me. Anyway,
what will be the first thing if that happens?
First thing I'll do
before you get into the
I will do a test transaction.
Yeah.
Because literally, he did all the right things until the last minute. Like, first of all, you did a test transaction to see if it was a UI glitch. It wasn't a UI glitch. And then you sent it. Then you moved. First thing I'll do is I'll move it to a secure wallet because that one might be compromised. Because it's an old wallet for a reason. After you're not actually using it, so you're probably not actually maintaining it. Then, bro, I won't lie to you. I would just convert it all to Bitcoin and just hold it there and just take it all out and put it in a cold storage. That's what I would do, innit? You know what I mean? But this Danny, bro, you made it. 700k. Even if you took 50k of that, you're trying to run it back up to, let's say, 500k or 100k or something. That would have been better trying to do a 5x short leverage on ETH. And the craziest thing as well is, how do you lose money short on ETH, bro? Everybody makes money short, dude. Everybody. How do you lose money short?
That's the real question, to be honest.
That's the main question I want to know. Like, I wish some of these guys can just call in or they could just leave a comment on the YouTube code. Because how do you lose money short on ETH? A lot of people have made a lot of money short on ETH this season. So that's another question that happened. But greed, man. Greed is a cardinal sin. And bro, you were gifted 700k because we don't know. I think this is probably someone that accidentally sent it to him. You know what I mean? Probably sent to a wrong wallet, and then he goes, if you have 700k in a wallet, you don't forget that. You just don't. It's too much money. It's too much money. If you convert even 700k today to BTC, bro, that's 7 BTC right now. Right? You know what I mean? At its current prices. You know what I mean? If not even more. So, like, why did he try to 30% gain? You could have done that without risking the entire capital. You're lucky with 5x leverage. What if it was 50x leverage? You'll be wiped out. So at least he has some common sense to use a very small short leverage rather than using a massive one trying to make beauty. So, I mean, it's not the end or be all. It's only half your portfolio got nuked. This still got half. Moving forward, I would advise this: just take that out, put in this safe storage, put in a cold storage, and figure out a plan to actually make money in this space rather than just following a guru or trying to like go commando trade like or revenge trade that they'll like. That's my best advice for this guy. Well, what do you feel?
You know what? Yeah, it's very seldom in this world that you get an abundance of blessings just land in your lap without having to work hard for it. And he's one of the few people on planet Earth that can say that I have been blessed from God. And he's almost squandered it completely in one transaction, in one move, in one maneuver. But fortunately for him, it only wiped out half. What I say only is 350k. But that was a very costly mistake, and he can still, he can still reach his goal. But I mean, I think his first mistake was his $1 million goal. And it's not the fact that he has the goal, and it's not about it being $1 million, but it's about the psychology behind it. Let me explain. So because he has this $1 million goal and he has 700K, he's like, I need to risk my portfolio. I need to risk everything that I was gifted to achieve this goal without really having a solid strategy. Now, you said something very smart. If he had just converted it all into BTC and left it, he would have reached that goal. Let's say even if it wasn't in this cycle, which is plausible, he could have done. But let's just say he fell short, whatever. Eventually, he's almost guaranteed to reach that goal. His problem is he's thinking on a short time frame, I need to have that $1 million now. But even if he had achieved that, I guarantee you, he would have squandered it later down the line thinking, oh, $1 million is not that much. You know what? Let me try and go for 2 million or 5 million or 10 million. The goalpost would have shifted and he would have just blown it up anyway. Fortunately, he has half of it remaining. So I think he still needs to do the same thing. I think he needs to put maybe 300, maybe just a whole lot, because I don't think he has a plan. But if he has a plan, maybe put 300 away, take 50K, try and run that back up. If you can, great. If you blow it up, fine. No harm, no foul. But if you manage to squander the rest of the fee 50, then you deserve everything that happens to you. I'm sorry. Well, I'm not really sorry. And with that, welcome back to the Crypto Flip podcast. I am your host, Harris King, and I am joined once again with my co-host, Deji. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. And if you're listening on audio platforms, don't forget to leave a review, because it really enables us to make more episodes, and we're really gearing up to invite guests really soon. So if you want that, leave us a review so we know that you're looking for that. So when it comes to, obviously, the war stuff, we touched on it last week. Things have sort of simmered down a little bit. There's been talks of ceasefires. There's been breaking of ceasefires. There's been talks again of ceasefires. And in all of this, crypto has reacted. The question is, when this plays out one way or another, either it escalates further, it sort of maintains this, you shoot a few rockets, we'll shoot a few rockets vibe, but I don't see it staying in that for long, or we have a complete ceasefire. How do you think those three scenarios will affect crypto?
I mean, we've already seen, if you're honestly speaking, right? We've already seen like some warnings. Like obviously the first ceasefire, or actually the first exchange of nuclear weapons strike, they already shook crypto. We went sub 100, then obviously quickly ride it back up to 107, struggling to break past that $107,500 range. It's a strong resistance. It's looking now currently like a strong resistance zone for BTC, and I'm sure altcoins are just waiting to see what Bitcoin does, because that is the supreme leader. But then there was obviously, the ceasefire agreement. That's what led to this rally. Then it was obviously broken. Then now it's like, it's been discussed again, and there's no guarantee it won't be broken again. So I mean, I would hate to be baggled in a lot of altcoins, especially in this space. Bitcoin is okay, you know what I mean? But holding Bitcoin, holding altcoins, man, I'm not saying go dump your altcoins or your altcoins, do whatever you want to do, your altcoins, but you can literally, today, I'm not talking about yesterday, I'm not talking about tomorrow, today's prices, pull up any crypto chart, especially altcoins. I can show you a bearish trend building up. Like literally, you can almost kind of see it like it's like, the trend is no longer uptrend for me. When you look at the higher time frame and the lower time frame of crypto, I'm talking mostly on altcoins, because Bitcoin can do a reverse. You might get a massive news and then you push back up to 120K.
So wait, hold on a second. Are you trying to tell us that we're not going to get altcoin season?
No, we won't get altcoin season. But as you already know, Fed are still sticking to their QT policy where like they're still having a quantitative tightening approach, which means they basically have a leash hold on the liquidity that's available in this market right now in this economy. And until they switch from quantitative tightening to quantitative easing, which will allow even more excess liquidity. Obviously there's liquidity in the economy. Obviously, we all know that. But what altcoins thrive on is excess liquidity. Currently, there's no excess liquidity because the money printer is off. So when the money printer is turned back on, when you see the Fed flooded the market with more and more cash flow, and they are printing that money, and they are offloading the balance sheet, that's where altcoins thrive. And right now, bro, they haven't even cut rate. You know what I mean? And then we have this war tension in the Middle East hanging as a massive FUD. And obviously, I think one of the reasons why crypto's done so well so far is because Trump is in office. Because they feel like Trump is better equipped than anyone currently in the politics, especially in the US, to kind of guide them through this to this tension time right now. Because at the end of the day, he can't guarantee like he can fix this. But I think him being in office, I think there's a slightly bit more trust, and institutions are still buying more and more Bitcoin. But eventually, the cow will come to roost, and I'm just telling you, like the FUD and necessary catalyst for a massive downtrend is literally here. And I think me and Rick were discussing like if this doesn't make an all-time high or make a push towards all-time high by the end of the month. We said that 2 weeks ago. It's now almost the end of the month, and we're looking like we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna do that. So July wasn't played. And maybe another fake rally and then an exit pump. Then we have because the catalyst is there. Like, because you could ask me, well, like, why do you think we're gonna go down? There's no FUD. Dude, that is FUD. There is absolute FUD. You know what I mean? You can see another player get into this war now. You know what I mean? The Russia-Ukraine one hasn't fully been resolved there. Now you have this tension between Israel and Iran. Like, it's just not good for the market. It's not good for crypto, in my opinion. So if you haven't taken profit, boy, I would advise you take profit on this stock unless you're advised. But personally, for me, the fear of this war lingers in the market. Then any kind of further involvement of US deepening and they became more involved doesn't necessarily mean it's good for the market. I think that's bad for the market. Coupled with the fact that Fed refused to, cut rate. They refused to kind of shift from QT to QE. Yeah, it's not looking good in my opinion, personally. What do you think?
Okay. Yeah, I think that crypto and war don't mix. I remember last week that when I was asking the question and Rick suggested that he originally believed that war would actually be a good thing for crypto. I actually held the same belief. And it sounds crazy, but if you think about it, when there's times of uncertainty, there needs to be assets that people fly to. Typically, and historically, that's been gold. And because Bitcoin is dubbed digital gold and has even better properties than gold, you would obviously logically think that some people would run to Bitcoin at times of uncertainty. That hasn't been the case. It's been the opposite, in fact. When there has been times of uncertainty, when there has been major risk factors, when there's been a global shutdown, war, potential World War III, Bitcoin has initially taken the brunt of that because it's a risk asset. And not only is it a risk asset, it's one of the most riskiest assets within risk assets. So people tend to take their money out of the markets. So it's, I think we will get altcoin season. I don't think it'll be the same type of altcoin season that we've had in the past. But I do think we will get a version of it, but we will need certain conditions in order for that to be realized. And I think that's more likely to come towards the end of Q3. But in terms of quarters, I mentioned Q3. It is the start of I mentioned Q4 actually, but it is the start of Q3. So I want to ask you a question. You can long one asset and you can short one asset for the entire quarter. Which two assets are you going to pick?
I can long one asset or short one asset. Which asset will it be? Ooh, what does it have to be crypto?
Yeah, crypto.
Ooh, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. I think for me personally, I would always put my money on what I think is the safest vehicle, because in this space, it's not about who can make the flashiest trade, who's got the biggest balls. In my opinion, I think it's about, capital protection and also proliferating your gains essentially. So for me, like, you can give me any basket of altcoins, I will short them. So for me, I will short XRB and I would long Bitcoin.
Interesting.
I'm just right now, I'm more bearish on altcoins than I am on Bitcoin. I think I always told you this, my goal in this space is kind of to accumulate Bitcoin long term. So by now, just another step towards that goal, that long term goal. But if you're telling me I have to short something, I will short any asset in the altcoin space. And I think the top of my list is probably, actually, the top two is Hype and XRB. I think those two I'll definitely short them because Hype has had a massive rally.
Interesting.
Yeah, had a massive rally.
That's true.
Led by inflow of and the new interest in obviously Hype trading. And I think this run up by Hype can easily be explained by the massive inflow of volume trading. And once the volume kind of dissipate because of lack of interest in the altcoin space, I think the Hype will probably get a shake back down to, I say, support level. So we're looking at 50% correction. And I think that's available. Would you believe if I said this here? I'm going to make another bold prediction on top of this. I think there is another 50% drop for altcoins in the space. You know what I mean?
Oh, yes. Interesting.
Yes. XRP, like, if you look at the top blue chip altcoins, like, XRP hasn't really shed a lot of this gain it made. XRP is still above $2. XRP can easily come back down to under $1, and then it will be more attractive for investors to kind of buy that range again and long up back up to new all-time high. So with the FUD and the Middle East tension and I would say lack of excess liquidity, I think that's definitely on the cards in my opinion. So to answer your question again and to clarify, I would short Hype, XRP, and I would long Bitcoin because Bitcoin, the Bitcoin dominance is basically, if you exclude stablecoin, it's at 70%. 70% Bitcoin dominance. I don't know, like, you know what I mean? And you might feel like, okay, well then if it's 70% shows lack of interest in altcoin, that means soon eventually it's going to reverse. Yes, it reverse. As soon as the Fed are willing to tell me, bro, as soon as the Fed are willing to commit to quantitative easing, that's when it's the time to run altcoins, bro. If we're looking for any kind of signal, that is the best kind of signal you need. Let's stop TA because, bro, if you basically follow the trading, a technical analysis trading system, right? For example, what we were discussing offline, Celestia, TIA. If you're following TA, you will probably have longed at one of those downtrends that kept breaking down. So TA is not always the end all be all. It's just a useful tool. It's the same way some people don't even overtrade. I don't even trade, make way more money. Like non-traders make way more money than traders because traders tend to lose more money than they make money. So personally, in the short term, I'm a bit bearish. I've told you this. I'm still on the sideline with my stables. But I think long term, I believe in Bitcoin. But if you're telling me I have to be in crypto, or do I have to long? I'm long in Bitcoin and I'm short and Hype on XRP. That's what I will be doing. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think for me, if I could only long and short two assets, I would long BTC, same as you, and I would short ETH in Q3. Obviously, ETH has rallied this year, and I expect it to rally again, but I think that'll probably come towards the tail end of the year. So if we're just talking about Q3, those would probably be the two that I would be looking at. Just like you said, Bitcoin is the only thing showing relative strength, and I think it's the only reliable asset that will remain strong in Q3 relative to the other cryptocurrencies. Even if the whole market goes down, it will go down the least.
Yep.
If it goes up, it'll maintain relative strength. So, yeah, I think those two
Bro,
make sense.
do you already test the 73K range? What do you think is next?
So right now we are at 107. I'm not too sure, to be honest, but I think the momentum isn't looking good. So I think
make a guess, because I'm going to give a prediction, right? I think Bitcoin found itself sub 73K. So I'm looking at the 63K range, the 65K range, and that's basically the previous.
In what time frame?
Higher time frame. You talk about weekly. If you look at the weekly chart or the monthly chart,
yeah,
you will see that. And then 63K, the reason I choose 63K is because that was the previous all-time high from the last cycle before we had that massive crash. And that was the end of the bull run, essentially. So I think that fair value gap will be filled eventually. Whether it would take 3 months, whether it would take a month, I don't know. But I've been building a short position around Bitcoin for the past week now. And then every time it deviates above 1,700 and 107K plus, I add a little bit more to that short position. And then I'll start doing the same thing to Hype as well and XRP. So that's kind of like my goal right now, just kind of build a short position around those. Because I'm telling you, man, like the news and catalyst is there, but for some reason we're not pushing enough higher. And then I know people want to tell you, F you, we're going higher, F you, we're going higher. It's hard to see that. And all they're saying is, you ask them, oh, why do you think we're going higher? They'll just tell you, F you, we're going higher. Okay, cool. F me then. You know what I mean? So, it's just, there's no rationale behind why we're going higher. People just saying, no, just because we're going to go higher, just because. Well, they have no fundamental clue why we should go up. They don't understand that, you know what I mean, QT is not the best place to start buying altcoins. And then this is the same people that have been screaming up the top of their lungs, altcoin season is starting now. Altcoin season is starting now. Still hasn't started. You know what I mean? Because I'm seeing altcoins suffering. So that's why
So let me ask you a question on that. If your thesis is that you're waiting for quantitative easing, you're waiting for money to hit the market so that it can obviously flow into altcoins, would now not be a good time to buy altcoins?
Yes, I would say you could start building a position right now. Like, put it this way, let me give an example. I'll give a better scenario. If I had 500K and you're not allowed to buy Bitcoin, because if you're allowed to buy Bitcoin, then you just put your money in Bitcoin, right? Let's just say specifically for our altcoin viewers, people that love trading altcoins, but love other altcoins, we're going to specifically talk about altcoins. I would only DCA. If I had 100K, I wouldn't put that 100K on Celestia, XRP, Solana. Like, you know what I mean? You don't just dump a lump sum. So what you can do is deploy perhaps the capital. Next correction, deploy another 10%. Then deploy another 15, then 20. Because one thing that I love about crypto is, it might seem like you're a little bit too late. Like now people looking at, oh man, the Bitcoin's 107. Oh man, I'm too late. You're not too late. You're not too late. You can start with the positions today. Depends on your short-term outlook and your long-term outlook. Long-term outlook, you can do that now. Short-term, you might want to wait. I'm just saying, you might want to wait. If you wanted to long Bitcoin at this range, I would wait. Because longer than 107 is absolutely insane to me. Like, unless even if you have inside information, it's not enough. You know what I mean? There's too much wash trading, offshore exchange manipulation, a lot of catalysts that could go right or wrong for crypto for you to be like, you know what? Now's the time. I want to long Bitcoin. I want to go 20x leverage. So to further the point I'm trying to say, you can't build positions now, but I would DCA into this altcoin space right now because it's just not the greatest market for altcoins. You know what I mean? If you ask me, I have to deploy a certain amount of capital and it has a more than 5%, then I will split across altcoins and Bitcoin. More weighted towards Bitcoin. 70-30. That's what I've said. What about you?
Yeah, I think the best time to build an altcoin portfolio is when people aren't paying attention. There is a caveat with that, though. You need to understand market cycles. If you don't understand the market cycles, then you're going to be left holding the bag, and nobody wants to do that. So, and it's also important to know that this cycle is different from previous cycles. So you can't use previous data to project it into this market. We are in a trader's market, as I've said time and time again, and I think every week that goes by, it further solidifies that. So you really need to be reactive if you really want to get into the altcoin game. So I wouldn't even build an altcoin portfolio to buy and let it sit and let it grow as you would in previous cycles. What I personally would do, not financial advice, is when there is a confirmation or when altcoins start rallying, and it'll be obvious when that starts happening because even garbage will start pumping. Look for trends. So, for example, if there's a disproportionate growth within, say, the AI sector, focus on that. Look for strong projects and get your multiples, take your money out, and then look for the next narrative. Because we've been in a very, very heavy rotationary market, so I don't see that changing anytime soon. So just play the rules of the game until the game changes, and I think as long as you do that, you should be fine.
Yeah.
But someone who's not fine is a Ledger, because they are phasing out support for Ledger Nano S, which raises a very interesting question. Is it still possible to buy, set, and forget? Because that's what a lot of people's strategy is. And if you can't reliably do that because the device that you're using is going to be effectively redundant in a few years, what's the point?
Wait.
What do you make of that?
Very, very interesting. Actually, this is the first time hearing it. They're phasing out support for Nano X.
Not XS, S.
S. Which one is that one? Is that older model?
That's an older model. So I think I even have that one myself. Let me read this.
Yeah, I had those ones as well, but I didn't even use it. I never used it.
Yeah, I haven't used that one for a while, but it still raises a question. But it says Ledger is transitioning away from Ledger Nano S. As a result, new applications, feature submissions, and app updates on the Nano S will not be accepted. We recommend you begin planning for this transition now to ensure continuity for the user by warning your community that support of your blockchain app wallet service on the Nano S is not guaranteed, encouraging your community to upgrade to another Ledger device, and check they have a 24-word secret recovery phrase to maintain support. And then it just goes on to the documentation. But this is very, very cheeky.
Very, very cheeky.
Very cheeky. What's to stop them from doing that again? Oh, we need more revenue. People are getting used to, having these
nothing.
Do a device.
I have to say nothing. If you're wondering how, you might be wondering, Ledger, is he a lucrative business? Are they making money? Bro, they're making money. They're now they position themselves as the Apple security in the crypto space, because Apple employs some of the same tactics where and anytime you have an older model of the phone, they build new OS and they kind of phase out support for the old one, make it slower, make your barrier expand, and essentially push you to upgrade, especially once they get you hooked into Apple products like I am. And then they put you on the hook, and then you have to kind of push for a higher one, and then it can become very expensive very soon. So funny thing is, I had this one, but I never actually set it up because it was so tiny. I remember setting up one of my boys' one for his dad. It was so tiny, and then I had to, dude, it's time for old people, so I have to say. And well, I've obviously upgraded to Ledger Stats. Obviously, I'm not in crypto in it, so if I was in crypto, I will upgrade to Ledger Stats because more touchscreen, bigger, and then it's easy to kind of, you know what I mean? It's easier on your fingers. You know, if you've got big fingers like me, it's easier for you to kind of, you know what I mean, interact and sign transactions and stuff like that. So yeah, personally, I've upgraded to Ledger and Stacks, but this is the beginning of this is something like if you are someone that is a cheapskate that doesn't like to upgrade it often, you like to you have a crypto some old like not like Ledger Nano S, then yeah, I will be worried. I will be worried still because there's nothing stopping them from.
I don't even think it's just about being a cheapskate, to be honest.
No, I know.
So let's say,
but if let's say you put it away in,
let's say you put your crypto in a wallet and then you put it in a vault somewhere.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Now you're panicking.
But obviously, I'm assuming you didn't put it in a safe deposit box in Turkey and you live in UK. That's stupid. Like wherever you're putting it should still be in UK.
Is it though,
bro? Like I'm sorry, fam. Like you shouldn't be. I think you should maintain a cool maximum 100-mile distance away from your what's called your Ledger crypto wallet, because in case you need to do a emergency upgrade or like at the times like this, I said the deadline is tomorrow. He's not gonna have to go touch it today. You know what I mean? That's crazy. That's crazy. Or you imagine if you don't go, it's like the Wolf of Wall Street. If you don't send that money today, you lose all your money. So if I don't update the firmware today and lose all my funds, that's absolutely crazy. And it's one of the reasons why there's only been a 8 to 10% penetration in the entire world population when it comes to crypto. Like, you know what I mean? It's just, when it comes to self-custody, it's very, very difficult. It's extremely difficult. And I think in the start, it's self-custody, primary school from secondary school, because this stuff is important. Like, you shouldn't compromise on this kind of cost. You can compromise on your Netflix subscription or whether or not you should pay for your gym membership. But when it comes to self-custody and safeguarding your crypto assets for your future, I wouldn't cut corners, in my opinion. So, I mean, Ledger they're cheeky for doing this, and there's nothing stopping them from doing it because they're the number one de facto crypto wallet supporter in this space. I know there's Trezor, but bro, I don't really mess with Trezor. Like, Ledger is my thing. I like Ledger. They're on it. So, yeah, it's cheeky, but can you blame them?
No, you can't really blame them because obviously it's a business move. They're a business. But I'm just thinking on, the user experience side and just from a customer experience side. But I remember I was on LinkedIn the other day and somebody wrote a post and they wrote something to the effect of the best crypto wallet hasn't yet been created. And I thought, that's a powerful statement. Do you think that's true or do you think that's false?
I mean, you never know, bro. I mean, because
of the UI and all the problems that you were just talking.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's safe to say, and then this is not a prediction. This is not I'm not overreaching or I'm not underreaching or whatever. I'm not playing it safe. I think it's safe to say the best is yet to come, and it could be from Ledger, it could be from a new start. The best is yet to come because new technology keeps popping out, and with the advance of, of the quantum computing progression that has been made, that definitely is a cause of concern for certain companies that are now quantum resistant. So, and then, hackers are getting smarter and smarter. Like the level of social engineering they're doing these days is insane. And then you put AI in their hands, they even become more powerful. And on top of that, you have this AI technology to pop right at the center. So, it's safe to say the best yet to come out, opinion. In any form or shit. Like, remember, we used to be gassed with my ETH wallet, with the Pepper wallet. No, there's so many different kind of wallets.
I remember that back in the day.
Back in the day. So, look how far we've come, and then we still got a long way to go. So, I think the best is yet to come. So, we will know for about, I think, half a decade or a decade.
Most certainly. And on that note, we'll see you guys in the next one.
Peace.